Hey guys, it's Laura. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I don't know about you, but this is my absolute favorite video, not only to film but to watch. But as we all know, 2020 has been quite the interesting year and I managed to read 73 books so far. So let's get into the tag and talk about what I've read. So the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2020, and this will probably come as no surprise, but it is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I went back and forth on whether this was actually my favorite book of the year, but after thinking about it, there's really nothing that can compare. I have talked about this so many times on my channel and I apologize, but not really. So if you don't know, this is the first book in the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. It takes place in a world where the earth is constantly ending. Basically, there's constant earthquakes, and it has created a society that is solely focused on survival. We are following our main character, who is an Origin, which is basically someone who has the power, the ability to manipulate and control the earth to quell these massive attacks that keep taking place. And we're following her during the 5th season that is currently taking place. That is the biggest world-ending event that they've seen. And this was absolutely incredible. The characters, the world, the writing, the things that N.K. Jemisin does with perspective in here, it's so unique. It's nothing like I've ever seen before, and I can't imagine anything ever coming close to beating this as my favorite book of the year in the second half. We shall see, but I doubt it. The next question is the best sequel you've read so far, and that would be The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. So this is the third book in the Broken Earth trilogy. It really wraps up the entire trilogy in such an amazing way. The way it ended was bitter and sweet, and it was just the perfect ending, and I love this writer and this world so much. Okay, the next question is a new release you have not read yet. That would definitely be Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. So this came out in March, I believe, and I didn't even buy the book until just recently. I don't know if I forgot about it or what happened, but I was so excited for this book because I read Acevedo's first two books, The Poet X and With the Fire on High. They were both 5 stars for me. I absolutely love them. I love her writing, and this one is told in verse just like The Poet X was, so I'm even more excited for it. I know it's going to be amazing. I really don't know why I haven't picked it up yet, but at least now I have the book, so I will get to it hopefully very soon. The next question is anticipated release for the rest of the year. Okay, so I have 4 books that are coming out in the second half of this year that I am super excited for. I don't know if I'll mention all of them, but Transcendent Kingdom, and this is by Yaa Gyasi. Yaa Gyasi wrote Homegoing, which I read this year and absolutely loved. It's currently my second favorite book of the year, so I am super excited to read more from her. And I think that comes out sometime in September. And then we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which is probably my most anticipated book of the entire year. That is by V.E. Schwab, and I feel like I have been on the writing journey with her because I've been following her on social media as she's been writing this book for years, and I'm just dying to read this one. I think it comes out in October, and it follows a girl named Addie LaRue who makes a deal with the devil, I believe, to gain immortality, but along with immortality she is cursed with no one being able to remember her. So this sounds amazing. I cannot wait for it. And then the 4th and final book that I'm really excited about comes out in December, and it is A Sky Beyond the Storm, and it's by Salva Tahir. It is the 4th and final book in the Ember and Ashes series, which is one of my favorite series of all time. I am so desperate to know what happens to these characters that I absolutely love and adore, and I just cannot wait for it to come out. I'm probably going to be rereading the entire series and then reading that book, but I'm so ready for it. So question number 5 is biggest disappointment, and I had to really look through my Goodreads and try to figure out an answer to this, because even though I've read quite a few books this year that I didn't like or rate highly, I wouldn't really say that they were big disappointments because I wasn't anticipating them highly. So the only thing that I could really come up with is Spin the Dawn by Elizabeth Lim. So this was marketed as Mulan meets Project Runway, which sounds perfect in theory. However, when I read it, I just didn't connect with it. I didn't like it. I was expecting to love it. And it's objectively, I can tell that this is a great book. It is well written and beautifully told, but I just didn't connect with it. I didn't connect with the characters. I didn't really like it. So even though it was still a good book, I gave it a 3-star. So I think that this is really the only big disappointment that I could think of for the year. I really don't get like super disappointed when it comes to books unless it's an author that I've read from before and loved, and just automatically expect to love everything from them and then don't. Like, I don't really get disappointed, if that makes sense. So the next question is biggest surprise. Definitely The Voice in My Head by Dana L. Davis. I read this, I think it was back in February, and I didn't go into this expecting it to be as incredibly funny or incredibly heartbreaking as it was. In this book, we are following twins Violet and Indigo. Violet, who ends up having a terminal disease. Indigo really doesn't see how she can live without her sister, and she plans on taking her life. But before she goes through with it, she hears this voice in her head that tells her if she takes her sister to this particular place, then she will live. What ensues is just the most hilarious story I've ever read, but also the most sad, like heart-wrenching story. I was either laughing hysterically or sobbing while reading this book. There was no in between. It was so well told, it was so beautifully done, and it just completely took me by surprise how much I loved it. It is currently one of my favorite books of the year so far. So it was a huge surprise for me, and I definitely highly recommend this. Question number 7 is favorite new author, either new to you or debut. N.K. Jemisin. I've read actually quite a few new authors this year, I think. Have I? Yes, quite a few that I really enjoyed, but none as incredible as N.K. Jemisin. She is a queen of speculative fiction, and I adore her work, even though I've only read one series. Trust me, I plan on reading absolutely everything by her. The next question is new fictional crush, and I really don't have one. I don't tend to get crushes on fictional characters, so I'm sorry, I do not have an answer for this one. But the next question is new favorite character, and I do have one for that. Anna Lightwood from Chain of Gold. I actually got this character card in a Sip Spy box, of all things, but they did a Chain of Gold Sip Spy box, and of course I bought it. But this is Anna Lightwood, and she is just such an inspiring character. What really gets me is her confidence. She lives in Edwardian London in a time when women don't have much autonomy, and she is determined to be who she is. She cuts her hair, she wears men's clothes, and she goes around breaking the hearts of women all over London, and I absolutely loved her character so much. Absolutely one of my favorites. Really, you could say absolutely anyone from Chain of Gold, because all the characters in there just already mean the world to me, but Anna Lightwood is definitely my favorite. Number 10 is a book that made you cry. Okay, so if you don't know this about me, I am a huge crier. I cry for everything all the time. But the book that made me cry the most, like seriously made me sob hysterically to the point where I couldn't breathe, was If You Come Softly by Jacqueline Woodson. This is a really short little book, but man does it pack a punch. This book follows our two main characters, Jeremiah, who is black, and Ellie, who is white and Jewish. The two of them are teenagers, and they fall in love even though the whole world wants to keep them apart, including their families. And the ending of this book is really what did me in. I did not expect the end of this book. I did not see that coming. I had no idea. I was not warned. And when it happened, I died inside. Like, my heart probably stopped beating. And I cried and cried and cried. And ended up giving this a 5 out of 5 stars. So I highly recommend this book, but just know that it will make you sob, and it might crush your soul a little bit, but you know, that's life. The next question is a book that made you happy. And I would say that a lot of the graphic novels I read so far this year have made me very happy, especially Stargazing by Jen Wang. Her books are just so heartwarming and uplifting and just make you just put a huge smile on your face. I really enjoyed this one. This one made me extremely happy. Second to last question is the most beautiful book you've bought or received this year. Spoiler alert for my June book haul, but I recently received this, which is Girl Serpent Thorn by Melissa Bashardoust, and this is the Fairy Loot exclusive edition, which is just, it's stunning. Something about the snakes and the pink color of this book, which is absolutely like the most perfect pink I've ever seen. It also has these beautiful green sprayed edges, and it's gorgeous. It's the most gorgeous book that I've picked up this year, and I'm just beyond happy to have this. I'm also really excited about the story within and can't wait to read it. It is a Persian inspired story, I believe, and it follows a girl who has been cursed to be lethal to the touch. It sounds amazing. I love Melissa Bashir-Dowse. I loved her other book, so I'm really excited to get to this. And it's just, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. Okay, and the very last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And besides the standard answer of all of them, I did make a video at the beginning of the year of 20 books to read in 2020. As of filming this video, I think I have like 11 of those books left. So I'm doing pretty good so far. But a few of them that are like the most important, I would say this one. This is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I probably haven't read this book yet because of its size. It's very intimidating to me. It's an epic fantasy. I really don't even know what it's about, but I hear so many good things, and I definitely want to make sure that if I get to nothing else, I get to at least this book by the end of the year. And then the other two that are also on my 20 books to read in 2020 that I definitely want to get to. The first one being Furyborn by Claire Legrand. I read Claire Legrand's Sawkill Girls, I think it was last year, and it was one of my favorite books of 2019. Absolutely loved her writing, the feminist undertones, and just like the feeling it gave me while reading. So I'm really hoping to get to this one soon. I know that it's about two queens 1,000 years apart, both with the power to either save the world or destroy it, something like that. And then we have Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. I have been wanting to read this series almost since I first started watching BookTube because I've heard so many people talk about it. And it follows magical assassin nuns. And there's really nothing more to say after that descriptor, because that's really all I need. But Mark Lawrence has come out with a new book set in the same world but part of a different series, so I really want to catch up and read this trilogy. Hope I love it so that I can move on to the next. And that is it. That is the mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you enjoyed. I certainly enjoyed filming it. Do talk to me down in the comments and let me know if you have any thoughts or opinions on the books that I've mentioned so far this year. Do let me know what the best book is that you've read so far this year. I would absolutely love to know, and I'm always looking for more recommendations for my ever-growing TBR pile. But that is going to be it for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys!